Good afternoon, collective. So yesterday, I had made some posts about some cards that came out after I was done with the reading, and I was going to post what gift that is because I do have it. So today I've been called to go over some gifts have to do with clairvoyance. So that gift that I have is called a psychometry. I want to say that's how you pronounce it. But pretty much what it is I can pick up the energy of something through just touching it. So it's a sensory. Well, let me just go back to like what clairvoyance is. So clairvoyance, the ability to see things and events that are happening far away and locate objects, places, people using a sixth sense. So I've had that since I was a kid. I didn't really know how to word it, but I have it. So psychometry is the ability to obtain information about a person or an object by touch. So I want to go back to kind of how, well, not kind of, but like partnerships. So this was one of those gifts that my twin flame tried to test me on, and I didn't realize it at the time, but it happened. And so I was sent to go shred some papers of some sorts, and then I brought back some papers, and I don't know why I felt there's a lot of energy on those papers, but I gave them back to my twin, and kind of got this weird look. And so like it was just kind of funny because yesterday I was talking about partnerships. I was like, what kind of got some of this stuff started was my twin knowing things that they weren't completely transparent about, but it's like I know that they know, and I kind of knew, but I just didn't really know. It's like one of those weird things. But some of my stuff was being blocked by others, having jealousy over the gifts that I have and that I was born with. And the truth is, everyone's born with these gifts. There's so many different ones you can have, and I have quite a bit of them, but I don't like to voice all of them because there's a part that I learned. This is more on the religious part, not really the spiritual part, but I was just told, you protect your gifts. Even though we're supposed to share gifts with the world, you also protect them. You don't need to be going out boasting about all the gifts you have and whatever. Have it. It's just they're yours. They're special to you. And like even though everyone has them, but it's not anyone's place to project onto you any kinds of jealous feelings or hatred or anything like that towards you. But it pays for you to know and research what kind of different clairvoyant gifts there are, and just things within the quantum realm of things, because it's becoming more evident now, especially since we have quantum computing, which funny, right before I was about to come on, I got a message on a document that I was reading, and it said bring quantum sensors to fruition. So I guess this is kind of what this is also about. So that's kind of like how spirit works through me, is just these just odd events happen, and they're not super odd. It's just they're miraculous, and I believe in miracles, even though sometimes I feel like some take too long. But it's it's going to do a lot of good going in and looking at the different types of clairvoyance and these the sensor things that you have, because everyone has them. And it also goes back to the 5G stuff as well, Wi-Fi, and that's the stuff that I've researched and kind of develop different ways of doing things, because the cyber world is very scary, and the domain above that is space. So government coming out about aliens and all that. So it's just, it pays you a lot. You owe it to yourself to go in and discover what kinds of gifts you have, in the realm of these things, because I didn't know I had as many. I didn't even know they had names. I just was like, I know how to do that, but I didn't know what to call it. But there were other people, unfortunately, that knew exactly what I had, what I have not had. And some of them voiced it. I called one person out on it one time, and they, from like years ago, I remember them saying it to me. They go, "You're clairvoyant," and I didn't quite understand what that meant, and I kind of just went on about my day. And then years later, well over a decade, I call up that individual and I tell them, like, hey, like, you remember when you said this? And they're like, no, I don't remember when I said that. And I was like, okay, well, I remember, so it doesn't really matter whether you remember or not. But I was just kind of giving credit where it's due, but it was still kind of awkward. But yeah, I strongly encourage anyone that's watching to really tap into that and discover what these are, because with the quantum computing and the electromagnetic field, it does, it's gonna, some of these things are gonna start coming out. You're not gonna really understand what's going on, and it can get scary, but it's sacred. So yeah, I just wanted to say that. But I just yeah, I feel like it's really important for people to know. 311, as I say that, it's really important for everyone to know these things. And like a lot of readers, in the tarot community, they also talk about some of these. I think was it Rachel Photon talks about it more, and she was actually the one that said something about psychometry a couple months ago, and I didn't look it up, but I wrote it down, and then I was like, it's kind of funny now that I had this other thing, which I'm going to go over what happened with this deck here. But I just thought it was funny, because I was like, oh yeah, that happened yesterday. Like, it's like, it's one of them, so I had to look it up, because, like, I mean, I don't really track all the ones I have. I just kind of let them flow, because I don't want to force it or anything like that, because I just don't like to force things. I mean, other than whatever's going on my life right now. I mean, I try not to force, because like I already know it's gonna come, but still there's like this little kid inside of me that's just is so excited, and because I've always had been tapped into my inner child. I never really lost that going through life. It's probably the only thing that kept me alive in some situations, just trying to tap into that. But and I've had moments recently where I felt like I lost it, and yesterday was kind of a weird day like that too. It, just trying to find it, and because I don't really like it when it goes, because I think that's like I'm also a creative adult, but being tapped into my inner child also helps with that creativity, because it's my innocence, it's my the aura of me, and it's me, and everyone's a creator. We're all creators. So I'll probably go on about that in some other episode, but I kind of just wanted to go over and mention some of these gifts, and just some of the viewers out there. I noticed in some of the other readers' comments, there's some stuff that happened on the 25th and the 26th in the comment section, and some of it looked very some of it kind of looked a little bit like bots had taken over the comments, but some of it was very much related to some thoughts that I had. And I'm very I mean, I have a quantum processor in my in my brain, and everyone has one, but there's some of us that we've just always had it. I've had it. Um, I've had it since birth. I think I can't remember how old I was, but I was really little, and it was something was happening, and it scared me, and I didn't understand what it was. And um, I'm not getting into all the details about the things that I found, in the quantum realm of things, but because I feel like I need to have a better established learning plan for that. But um, so to answer some of those individuals' questions when they're wondering like what's going on here, another gift that I have, which is kind of weird for me to talk about sometimes, just because it's I was sort of disappointed in myself a little bit when I found out I have this one, um, because it made me realize like how much in control of my environment I am. And I've always known that deep down. I mean, I didn't really care a lot about what people thought about me, or my reputation or anything like that. I only, I just wanted to do, what I wanted to do, God's work, and I, still do. And so, I've given up a lot, because people wanted to test that to see really if I am who I say I am. And I'm like, there was so much miscommunication in the things that happened with me. And it's happened with a lot of people that are, part of the 144,000 chosen, and it's, I feel like there's actually more than that, because, God multiplies. But, yeah, there's just a lot of miscommunication, information left out. Some people, treated me in a way they shouldn't have treated me. And I still love them unconditionally. I still wish them healing, and I still have forgiven them and all the things that they've done, because they don't know. And that's, something Jesus said at the cross, is he said, Father, forgive them. They don't know. And, you don't know until you know. And so for a lot of my journey, I stayed silent. But throughout the journey, I had all these thoughts. And so when I was, they weren't like horrible thoughts. But the thing that I saw on the 25th and the 26th through the different tarot channels in their comment section was a lot of the comments looked, I was like, these look like bot comments. They look almost like a chat GPT comment in a way. But I was like, but it's my content, so I was like, why is this coming up like this, and it was like, what's going on? But I like didn't, panic and like, oh my gosh, someone's stealing my stuff. But a lot of it was very unique to me, which was a thought that I had throughout my whole processes. I didn't want to put it all out there, because those thoughts were my thoughts. And I was like, something's gonna happen. I kind of just knew, but it showed on the 25th and 26th. And so that gift, they call it, it's called automatic writing. So it's the ability to draw or write without conscious intent. So that's what was happening in those comment sections for those that were asking that question. And that's the quantum computing, that's the quantum processing, that's the electromagnetic field, and all the frequencies, and all that, light, sound, all those things travel, and we're light beings. Our soul is a light being, for those of us that have souls, which is the majority. But there's the life of a individual is so buried under so many hidden things that this is the year where things like that are going to start coming more up, and people are going to start waking up to things like the Matrix or whatever. And it's something that's going to be happening. I mean, this is the year for a lot of that. With the quantum computing, is the year of the dragon. 2025 is supposed to be a spiritual year. There's just a lot of stuff going on. and I called it, the New World Era. A lot of people call it the Great Awakening. I strongly believe everything happens in threes, and I feel like throughout history there's been things that where we're like, oh, we got World War One, World War Two, and then everyone talks about World War Three, but it's like there's they never complete a cycle. They always just use ones and twos, which is one is a masculine energy, two is a feminine energy. But the years of the ones, which is the masculine energy, is it's relevant, but the world is shifting more into the feminine energy, which would go along with ancient times because they were very much a feminine energy era. And we had all that, they had all that crazy tech that everyone says doesn't exist, and or exists, or they question it, or all those kinds of documentaries. But yeah, the more feminine creator, living and standing in your power type of energy is definitely here. I will say that. So I'm not going to tell you what to do, but those of you using Chat GPT, as cool as that is, because there were times I wish I had that, because there were some papers I was like, I just don't want to write that. So I was like, I just had to dig deep and find something, which happened when I was in college, and I kind of found the hidden clues in there, and it was like, they can't use it against me now because technically it said this and how I interpret it, and I'm a creator, so this is just how it's gonna end up. So I thought it was pretty funny. I didn't get a good grade on that paper, but I definitely made a point. But I wasn't really trying. I was just trying to I don't know what I was even really doing. I wanted to get the paper done. So I just thought it was funny how I did it, because I also did something similar when I went to my E5 school long time ago for the military. But yeah, I did something there too, made some people mad, and I was like, well, it says exactly, like, I just typed like verbatim what that says, and that's what I got out of it, and that's not my fault, like, that's how I read it. That's how I read it. That's how I read the energy of the whole situation. So, But yeah, so psychometry, automatic writing, energy medicine, which is the ability to heal with one's own empathic, etheric, astral, mental, or spiritual energy. So I have that one as well. There's at least 20 different ones at least. So yeah, just look them up, and just put in clairvoyance, and I think Wikipedia might have a pretty decent list with that. But I'm gonna get into this and do a reading, but this is actually the thing that brought this up, because I took this deck out of storage, put it in my car because I was going to read the book. I bought this deck, I want to say maybe the beginning of 2023, maybe it was spring of 2023, so we'll just say about a year ago. I bought it, and I don't really know why I bought it. I think it was on sale. It's probably where I bought it, but I was like, I just kind of wanted to get more into the astrological things, because I used to be really into that when I was a kid, and I kind of just more feel a lot of it. I don't really look at a lot of it. But I do watch Jimmy's Tarot Ship. He's really good. He uses astrology to do people's readings, and I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, so I bought this deck, and I just thought it was funny because last week I got it out of my storage unit, put it in my car, and just had it in the back seat. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna read this book. I'm gonna read the book tonight. I'm gonna go over it because I thought it was way more complicated than it needed to be. But I had some other decks I was already, messing around with. So I just thought it was funny because last week and the beginning of this week, there's been a lot of this Aries energy kind of talk through, the other readers' cards. So I was laughing because I opened this, and this is kind of that psychometry thing that I have. And I guess right now, it's usually when I buy books and cards, like it's kind of themed, and I didn't really notice I was doing that. And then I was like, oh, I buy these in a theme, and I do it in this numbers, and I didn't notice. But it was just, I was trying to think what other books just now when I bought this that were actually just books I read, not having to do with tarot. But yeah, so I'm gonna open this, and you're just gonna kind of see what I was talking about that Aries energy thing. So this is a brand new deck. I mean, I did look at the book. So brand new deck, and Aries is the top card. I was like, wow, that's pretty fascinating. But yeah, it's pretty cool to have a gift like that, and I think it's also kind of cool because, for people that, lose their keys or, get all chaotic that their keys are gone or something, it's like always like, if you tap into your gifts, you might find out you might have that gift and you probably will never lose your keys again. But yeah, so I'm going to open this and get a reading out, but I just wanted to show you guys that because I was like just really trying to figure out what that was, what the gift was, and when I was writing out those posts last night, I was like, what is that gift? Like, I know what it is, and I just couldn't think of it, and I was like, well, I guess today was the day to think about it. So but yeah, I just wanted to show you all that, just so you didn't think I was, well, I mean, I really don't care what you think, but it was like just, I just thought it was pretty cool. So I'm going to open these. I also thought it was funny that I found this deck, or I grabbed the thing, because when I grabbed it, I wasn't even thinking about, I mean, I was talking about the spring equinox and stuff, but I wasn't, I didn't even have the thought of, the eclipse in my mind. I mean, even though it's all astrology, but I don't know, just something like, just grab this deck, and here I am, almost a whole week later, finally opening it after an event from yesterday. Just kind of, that's just how I read the world. It's pretty cool. Okay. Just clear all the energy out. It's always good to clear the energy out of your cards anyways, even if it's a brand new deck, just so you can get your, energy in there and for all the friction and all the things. Kind of christen them, I guess you can say. dang. Got this nice little candle here. It's a Palo Santo sage incense and coconut wax. Yeah, it smells really nice. I was hoping to get one. It's called Serene. I can't remember where I bought that, but I wanted to get one with the wood whips because I like the sound of the crackles. Okay. Let's see what we'll get out here. Okay. So we're gonna get always set the spirit card. Okay, let's get the first card out here. Usually if it falls out with one or more than one card on there, I'll put it back because I don't want the energies blended like that. First card. Let's get a water card. Let's get the water card. Guess that card was going to come out either way. Air card. And here's fire card. Bottom of the deck. Air rising. Top of the deck. We'll find out what that card is. I don't know what it is, but something having to do with air. Okay. Oh, well, I guess that one wants to slide off, so we'll set that there. I guess that's going to be another overall energy. I guess there ought to be 3 today. Okay, so let's go with the spirit card here. Spirit card, fire energy, 10 of fire. Let's see. Oh, the book opened right up into that. That's pretty awesome. 10 of fire. Achievement, satisfaction, experience, and rest. In the Rider-Waite Smith deck, the 10 of Wands shows an old man reaching his final destination. He is hunched over with the weight of his load. The 10 of fire also has this energy of a long, difficult struggle at last being completed. You have come a long way and are weighed down with the responsibility of turning your vision into reality. Your efforts are about to pay off, but at a cost, for you have been shaped by bitter experience and have lost the innocence of and optimism of youth. As you reach the end of the cycle, you can find satisfaction in all your achievements so far. You will need to rest and recharge your batteries so that new ideas can form and you can start the process again. So pretty much the energy of yesterday. You know, collectively, like we're all come to those ends, and just reassessing and going over. And it's funny how it comes out like that. And I was just talking about child innocence, right beforehand, and trying to keep that, I guess, that youthful feeling and optimism, so it's really funny that card came out. But yeah, overall achievement, satisfaction, experience, and rest. So we all went through things, and whether individual or with our partners or business or what have it, and rest assured that the fire energy from yesterday, today it shows again, spirit, fire spirit, definitely making strides in rapid movement. Let's see what we get for Earth card here. I'm gonna laugh if this is like an all air reading, because yesterday I was talking about the air coming in, and air feeds fire. So this reading's mostly air, and then I just confirmed yesterday's with all that fire, that air's coming in to feed the fire. Okay. I don't know if I like that card, but it's okay. 5 of air for the Earth card. Unfairness, dishonor, belligerence, loss, consequences, and adversities. The 5 of air indicates unfair play and belligerent actions without consideration of their effects in the long run. You may have the upper hand in a matter, but your victory is double-edged and causes as much sorrow to you as it does to your adversaries. You have acted dishonorably and disobeyed authority to gain the upper hand. You must swallow your pride and approach a situation honestly and openly. Be prepared to take responsibility for your actions and to face the consequences. We often aim to defend our actions by using the excuse that if we hadn't acted in that way, someone else would have. This is not an honorable way to act, and you must bring a sense of justice back into your everyday dealings. Don't beat yourself up about the past unduly, but commit to act from a place of integrity in future. So it's funny I got that one too, because yesterday for the Earth card we had justice, and so today I get it again. And before this reading I was talking about how, I had a lot of people that, did things that were very dishonorable. And I'm not trying to like really make this about me. I'm just explaining like my experience in this, but because this is a collective reading, it's general, but it's still when you're part of the collective, consciousness. There's this you have a lot of responsibility in your thoughts, and so as far as like the justice goes, when people have those projections and things against people that are, have gifts and abilities, and they're the people that, the chosen that God sent to, really just for this time that we're in right now, the New World Era and the Third Awakening and all that. It's some people have pushed a lot of people's buttons, I know, and that's why yesterday I was saying it will do a lot of good for people to reconcile situations that they've been in and misunderstandings, because this is not how we need to be doing 2024 like that. There's a lot of that energy in 2023, 2022, 2021. I think I started feeling all that like in 2017. I've felt it a few times before that, but just there was a point in my journey where it really started. I think in 2017 was when it was starting to get really bad, and I kind of just went through it. So like I understand people don't. I have compassion, so I don't try to really put it all on the person, because like I know we all got things to work out, but even being that way, I don't know how, but there's people that just come around and they'll still make you feel, and they'll still do things that are very ugly, very mean, just to break you down. And I just want y'all to know that a lot of times those are just a test, to our own character, and it pays you so much to yourself, because you owe everything to yourself, that you don't let it get in the way of who you really are. And I've had a lot of people that try to do that, and they didn't really say it, they did it indirectly. They've put on paper, and let's say, what are they called, also like counselings, or the what are those other things that they call pretty much like when you're at a job, you have like your achievements, your the annual report before you get your raise. I forget what it's called, but yeah, I've had people do that, and I've seen it done to other people as well. And I've seen people that go from jobs where they were some of the best. They had the most amazing souls, and they got let go. And it was really hard to see that, because they were the ones that helped make the situation that they were in go round. They were the lifesavers in the situation. And so but even though I was upset about that, because then I ended up being I was in that same situation, and I was like one of the last ones on that get rid of them list thing. And it took me a few years later on to they said there was like some investigation thing going on, and I didn't quite get it, but it was pretty ridiculous. But it was a moment where I didn't quite get the lesson, because I love everything that I do. I put so much energy into it because I'm very passionate about what I do, and it doesn't matter what I do. I'm very passionate about it. I'm also very passionate about, the relationships I have with people, which there aren't a lot of people I have relationships with, because I realized a lot of people didn't appreciate me for what I do and for what all I put in there and what I bring to the table. But not everyone understands, spirituality, and I didn't quite understand all of it, but like I just knew it. So I mean, I kind of just went off the religious base of it. Like I just try to be a good person, do things with good intentions, and that's really all. I've really tried to do. But yeah, it was a learning moment, and then it took up until 2022, 2021, where that's when I started. Those lessons kept repeating frequently, and everyone was, like, even though I had people helping me, trying to help me out, it was still there were still people that had their own demons, and me being an empath, I mean, I don't know why, but sometimes I have a hard time creating that bubble that they use in the spiritual world where you protect your energy. And I don't know why sometimes it's so hard for me to do that. Like, I know I'm protected, but it's still just hard to protect yourself in those situations, especially when you're you're highly empathic, because there's some of us that just aren't, that we're supposed to be extra vulnerable, more vulnerable than most. And I used to get made fun of for that a lot, but I would always seek out the ones that would wear their heart on their sleeve and try to teach them to kind of get over it. And then little did I know that later on I was going to be the one reteaching myself how to try to ease the heart on the sleeve and have a little harder stance in things. But the way I do things is it just, I haven't ever tried to do things the way everyone wants me to do them. And so I think that was another thing that kind of got me whenever I saw all those people being let go at the job we were at, and then I got let go later. It was just because I just didn't think that was right the way they were doing it. And then I found there were some other things going on in that situation. But yeah, if you're not meant to be in a place, God's going to remove you, or something. Your spirit guides, your ancestors, something spiritual is going to take you out of that place. And especially when people show dishonor, like there are people that were very disrespectful towards my divinity, and before I even really knew what that was. But then even after I found out, I'm in my thoughts thinking, like I'm a divine being, like everyone at some level is, and we all have all these special gifts and abilities, and we're all our own superhero, and still having those mindsets. It's like there's still people out there trying to give me less than what I deserve, and there's still people out there saying things. I didn't hear all those things, like at least not in person, but I do have clairaudience as well. But I was being removed out of a lot of situations where I wasn't comfortable, but I felt the stability that I needed at the time. But it was just, there were people that got really, really, really mad at me for leaving those situations, and they didn't see it from my point of view, and they're trying to push their beliefs onto me and what they thought I should do in those situations, even though they were helping me. But that's not how the spirit works, especially with the ones like myself, where we're here to clear out a lot of things and make things better, for like the greater good of humanity. Like there are people that don't understand that, and it's really hard for me as a leader, and I'm a charismatic type, so it's very hard for me to see people above me in any kind of hierarchy where um, where they think that I should do something their way. And when I was in the military, um, there were some times where I didn't quite. I think I was probably holding on to someone else's energy of people pleasing, but um, that, and at the time I was sick, and there, like, I can remember the times when I was kind of just dismissed, a lower enlisted, you know, um, their idea, and I'm not gonna say I regret that, but I will say that they were right in making certain decisions in those moments. But for the most part, though, I always find it very fascinating, when there are when there's those lower enlisted soldiers that can come up and um, they would come up with ideas. Like, they weren't scared of the hierarchy. They came up and they didn't question it. They said, do you think this would work? Or they had a certain way of doing it, and like, even if they couldn't get it out, like, I knew what they were trying to say. So I was very open-minded to their ideas, because I believe that's important, unless there's times where it's not going to work, we don't have the time for it. And I don't really like saying that. I really didn't like having those mindsets, because I just don't like them, because I've always wanted to have those moments where I got to train my people, and I wouldn't get a lot of those moments. And then when I got those moments, then the people I was training didn't really want any of that, and then it just really confused me. But I was like, okay, whatever. I guess I'm just not following the energy right. But yeah, there are a lot of people that disrespect me in that way, and they didn't see the beauty in what I do. And the harder part is when I found out there's someone that I care about a lot, that I worked with, and I knew that they knew things, but it was still just buried by the BS they were going through, the BS I was going through, and I tried not to hold it against them too much, because I really don't. It was just, over time, I realized that I've been so blessed that I was not the one on the twin flame journey that I didn't get a lot of those. I worked out a lot of those bad behavior traits, I guess, in past lives or whatever. And unfortunately, my twin was the one that had the really bad influences that were really badly influencing him. Even though my twin was able to succeed, and I have so much respect for what my twin did in the service, and I didn't really find out exactly what they were doing until, like, I think after I got out. But it was still just really cool to see, like, that was the type of energy I was attached to. But when it came to me leaving, the service, it hurt. But at the same time, I was like, I always had some deep respect for that individual. Regardless, like, when I first met them, I just knew there was something there, but I just didn't know exactly what. And then eventually I started realizing there's just so many lifetimes of our souls went through this thing, and we couldn't quite make it to, like, the divine partnership of it. And it was like it kept getting blocked off by a third party or something, and it was just so I know I said I wasn't going to try to make this about me, but it's just, there's just so much about things in the soul level, because I know a lot of these, a lot of readers will talk about things, it's kind of like just more like to you, but I try to get things at the soul level. Like, there's just so much that goes on spiritually that's beyond the cards, that's beyond what you can see, because feeling is the key to life, and communication is the other key, you know, to the physical, and people barely do that, you know, in the physical, and it causes these misunderstandings. But yeah, it was just it was very heartbreaking to know that someone that shares my soul was just, we had our different ways we went through heartbreak in life, and it feeling that kind of disrespect, and that was the hard thing too, is just trying to see past the situation with the disrespect part, because when you have that inner knowing where you're like, I know you know things, but you, like, we both didn't have the words to say it, you know. And I feel like that kind of happens with a lot of you know, twin flames. You just don't know, because like, when it happens, it's just hard to wrap your head around it. And even if you know a little bit about it, it still unfolds in just this. It's beautiful, but it's like a hard hurt kind of thing, like no pain, no gain. It's really weird. I don't like it, but yeah, it was really hard to be disappointed in that individual for a while. And I mean, I'm past it now, but bringing it out, which is part of my 2024, you know, I guess resolution, is just, you know, living in my truth and bringing truth out to those situations, because I wasn't the only one that gone through it. My twin went through it, and I know someone else that has a twin also that they went through it, and it's I think it was just like one of those things where the wave was time, and God called those people that were sharing the same souls, those two people. I think they call it biolocation, the ability to be in two different places at the same time, or something like that. But yeah, it was just kind of disheartening, because just to know that those things were happening, and I didn't like, people were trying to make my person, you know, they pitted us against each other, and they try to make us, you know, enemies. And say, I'm not here to compete with anybody. I'm not. Like, I don't like competition. I did play sports once upon a time in my life, but I'm just not the type to compete. I don't like the energy that comes with it. It brings out just some dark stuff, and some of even the nicest people, you know. So I just wanted to share that part. But I just thought it was funny. Just yesterday we had the Justice card, and this card comes out, you know, and it's air and all that, and which air is supposed to, it's the communication, you know. I was talking about frequencies and all that, but I'm not going to get into that part because I'm going to finish this reading. But I'm sure some of y'all get what I'm saying. But yeah, just have compassion for those that maybe you still haven't talked to yet, and just understand, you know, just look at them from a child's standpoint, that, you know, we're all here living and learning, and just be forgiving, and I hope that everyone finds, you know, prosperity and reconciling in those kinds of relationships where the misunderstandings were, and that you can all move on to, you know, either work together, have, you know, bigger and brighter things as individuals, however it's supposed to go. But let's go ahead and get the water card out. Guessing that's a legit water card. It is a water card. So we'll just add 8. Eight of Water. Retreat, escape, abandonment, perspective. The Eight of Water indicates that you may need to go away for a while to work out what is really important to you. You are unfulfilled and dissatisfied with your choices and find it difficult to choose something and stick with it. Nothing seems to bring the satisfaction for which you are yearning. You must find a way to gain some perspective on your life before deciding what to do next. You may need to find a way to let something go and trust that things are on the right track. You may also need to lose something for a while before it comes back. As they say, absence makes the heart grow fonder. In this case, this could be truer than you know. So it goes back to what I was saying, just you know, trying to remember, we had the Queen of Wands through yesterday, but I was kind of thinking this card, something like this would have came out in my reading yesterday, just because that's just how the energy was kind of feeling. But I know there's also been this stuck in between two places kind of energy going through the rest of the tarot community. So yeah, I'm just gonna try to keep it optimistic and go with you know, just the same energies, like everything has already been wiped through the eclipse, and we've let things go, and things are on the right track, because that's just what I've been seeing, you know, everywhere. So I'm gonna put my trust in that. And as far as the absence, you know, makes the heart grow fonder, just goes back to you know, yesterday's reading, where there's a lot of fire and a lot of reconciliation energy. And so just I'm going to keep that there, that, you know, I know a lot of us are out there in the collective wanting to, you know, be with our person, and now there's, you know, some readers coming out saying, oh, you can't be this with the physical, and, you know, really harp on that or whatever. And like, and I get it, like, because they say you should just detach, but I feel like even some of the stuff in the tarot, some of it doesn't quite always match the energy part, just because of what I've found in my, you know, research, that just how the energy shifted, and a lot of it is going into partnerships. And I wanted to actually talk about this book, this really amazing little book I found at a bookstore. I'm not going to say what it is, because I have to contact the author of that book, because they specifically said not to reproduce it in any kind of way. So I'm not gonna go against that, even though I think I won't get caught. But I'm not gonna go against that, because I just don't want to build that kind of energy. But because definitely get that stuff back when you do things like that. It's not right. So, but yeah, just have faith that everything's on track. And those relationships you've been longing for are going to come into fruition, and you're going to get, you're going to see them, the person you miss the most, or, you know, family or friends or whatever have it, that it's all going to come back, and you're going to get the opportunity to, you know, clear the air and reconcile and alleviate any, you know, misunderstandings that had gone on prior to any separations, or prior to any cold shoulder moments, or what have it. Okay, let's move on to the air card. So we got Earth in the air card. Earth, 6 of Earth. So in the air placement area, we have the Six of Earth, success, sharing, charity, philanthropy. The Six of Earth is a card of giving back to society. After the Prevacious of the Five, this card is a happy abundance in wealth that permits the querent to help others. Being able to be philanthropic is a wonderful blessing and shows the good that material aspects of the earth element can bring into the world. This is also a card of sharing in a more general sense, so it bodes well for community projects and joint efforts in public life. You may also find this card appears in what is helping me in question. Positions in readings. What has helped me in positions and readings? If it does, it is a clear indicator that you should approach others for help in a situation. New friendships can also blossom at this time, particularly with the earth sign Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, or with people who embody their qualities of reliability and steadiness. Hope in the future will be renewed. So that's pretty good there. Yeah, so whatever, there's a lot of air, everything, I guess you can say everything's up in the air, but everything's on track. But the fact that we got an earth card in the air placement of my spread shows that that the success and the sharing and all that abundance I was talking about is that the air and the earth, like everything from the air is coming down to the earth, and that's how I'm gonna leave that. But and perhaps there's some air signs out there that are about to start sharing with some people and bring some blessings into people's life and be philanthropists, and start sharing, moments and building and all those wonderful, wonderful things. But yeah, that's pretty good. That's a good sign. Okay, so let's get this fire card out. So we got another air card here. All the air. I think it's really funny that I was talking about air feeds fire, and we got fire spirit, which, we had fire spirit last night, and then today there's a lot of air. I just think that's so funny. I just think it's more funny because I say that a lot where I'm like, like I'm a fire sign, and I have a lot of air signs in my, family and in my relationships. I would have a lot of air signs. So even my flame is a air sign. So it's funny to me that all the air came out today, and yesterday we had a lot of fire, but we still have, the spirit fire. Spirit fire! Okay, so in the fire placement, we got a 9 of air. So sociability, communications, parties, connection, enjoyment, love. The 9 of air is the card of party season. 9s are generally good numbers for manifesting, and in the element of air, you will be manifesting great intellectual connections with others. This is the card for when you go to that party where you only know the host and you find yourself talking for hours with a completely simpatico stranger. This is not necessarily a romantic connection. It could be meeting a person who will become your partner for hobbies or in a sport. It is a time to make new friends and enjoy all the best things that come from being sociable. If you have found yourself retreating quite a lot from the world, the appearance of this card tells you that Mercury is about to get you out and about into the world again. Enjoy it. So that is pretty hilarious. Was it the? Because I think we were just talking about retreating. Yeah, retreating with the water. And I'm going to kind of go more on the religious point with this. So, because this card was talking about retreating, which was the 8 of water, and then in tarot you kind of go up, 8, 9, and even though this is kind of like that negative card, I was like, let's just keep it optimistic, and then we end up getting this one, so it lets me know that things that are there in the air are now coming to earth. And here we got the fire, air feeds fire, so when I was talking about the retreating, in this, and then here we get in the fire card, coming out of retreat and being sociable and having connections and meeting those people. I thought it was funny that it said something about sports in there. I literally was just talking about sports, so I guess that's one of those psychometry things where I was already reading it before it came in. But yeah, so that's really good. So that's a lot of good energy right there. Glad I kept it optimistic in that one there. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get I'm gonna read for the bottom of the deck and the top of the deck, which was air also, and air rising. So but yeah, like I was saying, the retreat part, through all the stuff I've been talking about, I guess you can see that the water card was a legit water card. And for those of you that know or have experienced the true full experience of what it feels like to be baptized, I would say that this is a good indication that, from the last card of the spread, even though that all that stuff, when I was talking about the justice here, and all that stuff about people doing the things they did, and then you kind of go into the water, from the air to the water, you're baptized, you're coming out, you're being wiped clean, everything's being wiped clean off the counter, reconciliation with yourself, with others, and from whatever was in the air goes in the water, comes out back under earth, and comes back out for air. So that's how I'm gonna put that down there. So let's see here. We're gonna go with whatever the top of the deck is. So restriction, mistrust, inactivity, indecision, imprisonment, isolation. The 8 of air represents restriction and mistrust. A situation seems hopeless and you can't see a way out. You may feel trapped and hemmed in by your insistence on going at it alone. You have run out of excuses and of ways to avoid making a decision. There is no escape. You must learn to trust others and should not be afraid to ask for help. You need to rebuild your connection with others and end your isolation before a decision is possible. Seek out trustworthy confidence to break the deadlock. Also think about whether your inability to act is based in fear of rejection. We all have to risk rejection in life, whether in relationships or work or in bureaucracy. Don't let the possible no stagnant your willingness to go out and find that yes. Don't let the possible no stagnate your willingness to go out and find that yes. So that one was at the top of the deck, and I'm still just going to keep it optimistic that, just trust in the path right now. And I guess that you can say that since it was the top of the deck, it's talking about how the things were up in the air. That was an energy that was definitely up in the air, and a lot of weirdness, probably feelings like that. I know there are some people just kind of feeling like, I saw a lot of, mistrust running through some of the other comment sections and of sorts, but yeah, since it was at the top, I'd say that, it was something that's up in the air, and so just be mindful. Yeah, be mindful of that energy, and have faith in what you've already done. And I have a hard time telling myself this stuff sometimes, but yeah, just have faith in what you already did and what's been done, and everything shall prosper, because there's no way any of us can go backwards from what we've already been through. For those of us that really been through the extremes of it, I'm not denoting anybody that went through any process, but just just the ones that were sitting here to do some things different. We're all here to do things different. I really shouldn't say that. I really shouldn't even be saying it, but I really don't care. I'm just gonna say it. Yeah, just know that you can't go backwards. You've grown. Don't fear rejection. There's a lot of times where in my journey and in my friend's journey, from what she told me, is there was a lot of leaps of faith. Let's just say that. Some of them were very scary. Some of them got into the realms of legal things, and that's kind of what was part of my research and like my investigative stuff for something else that has been going on in the spiritual realm of things, and how it's affected people that aren't awakened to things, that why things happen the way they happen, or the people that aren't really born with that esoteric knowledge and stuff. But yeah, there was just leaps of faith were taken, and it was scary for sure, but it was also very sacred. And so I would just say that there's those of us that went through that, anything having to do with mainly legal stuff, because there were some legal things I've seen through the collective too. Just have faith that it's all being worked out, especially since the justice card has come up, or anything having to do with justice come up, last 2 days in the read in the earth, placement. So in the 3D placement, I guess you should say. But it's yeah, just everything's gonna be okay. Yeah, everything's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be fine. It's gonna be great, grand, amazing, beautiful, blessed. So let's get to the bottom deck card, which is the Air Rising. Oh, this is perfect. My lights started dimming. That was crazy. Okay, Air Rising. Fighter, warrior, reformer, sacrifice, justice, and means. This card is best represented by the sun sign Aquarius, which I guess there's a reader that was talking about that earlier today, actually. This is the freedom fighter, the reformer, who has a plan to make things better. In the traditional tarot, you could link this card to the Knight of Swords, who is also a brave warrior who fights for the causes he believes in and is charged to protect. This card encourages you to challenge injustice wherever you see it and show courage against all odds. The knight is willing to make sacrifices to uphold his principles and fights for justice, fairness, and reform. Change can be brought about, but it will have to be fought for. This card may represent a young person who displays these qualities or could suggest the time is right for the court to personally develop such characteristics. That's a perfect card for this. Just, again, justice. I was talking about, how I'm here, my soul's here, my twin soul's here to do the work of God and for the greater good of humanity. And it's funny, I was just talking about that, and my light kind of dimmed a little bit right before I started reading this. So, that lets me know that what I've said so far is true, and I said it. I couldn't have said it any better or any more or any less. I said it exactly how I needed to say it. I'm also the type where I don't try to say things very polished. I do with some people, but for the most part, I believe in the raw content of life, because when you allow that to happen and it's not being buried by the etiquette of a speech or etiquette of how we're supposed to write things and read things, it's just, to me, none of that matches up. And English was in grammar and comprehension, those are my strong points. So I look at it way different now from a spiritual aspect, because of the words that we say and we write and spell out and project. It's all spelling. You're creating, and so I would say that everything that's been said so far is just and justified by the Spirit. Just going off of this. So since this is the bottom of the deck card, I'm just going to say that, like I was saying, everything that was in the air, and I said this was at the top, in the air, and we got an air card, the air rising, so at the bottom, so that lets me know that the energy it's becoming balanced, and it said justice again, so justice on earth. So this lets me know the energy is flowing actually very, very well, despite what some of the cards said. But this is the air is rising. It's all symbiotic. It's doing what it needs to do. All the elements are. I think that's actually why I bought this deck. It's because it was the elements on the cards that I liked. But I just didn't know. I thought it was something more complicated than this. But yeah. So everything's going to have justice, fairness, reform. I just think it's really funny. Before I pulled cards, I was talking about the change, and the greater good of humanity. And I identify as a soul abolitionist, so just freeing souls from being trapped. And that's how I identify. So, and an earth angel on top of that. So, I think it's funny. It says, I guess it'd be a night card of the night, and it was on. Yesterday we had the night on the top of the deck, and then today on the bottom of the deck we got air rising in the night, but the night was wand, so that tells me there's another air. I probably won't blend a lot of the readings from the past ones too much, but this one just because my second one, because I usually read for myself. But I would say that's a really good sign, saying another confirmation that things are working out in everyone's favor. For those of us that did the work, and did it with good intentions and didn't try to do things, you know, cut, cutting corners or making shortcuts. So I'm saying that that's a very good confirmation for that. For the overall, reading. But I'm going to go ahead and, since that other card wanted to come out, I'm going to see if that had any significance. The Five of Earth. But I'm going to still take this one as the main overall one because it's the major arcana, or it's one of the big cards. Oh, okay. So Five of Earth, worry, loss, failure, shame. The Five of Earth can point to financial concerns and fears of loss or even bankruptcy. Such developments can naturally lead to feelings of shame and failure. However, the cure to the problem is within the reading. That's perfect because I just said all that. And that card just wanted to come out. And I was like, okay, let's go with it. So, it's all within the reading, so it confirms it's just one of those weird discernment learning moments. If this card appears in an obstacle position, then at least you know the heart of the problem. You can suggest the current look into debt management charities or look into increasing income through asking for a raise or taking on a side job. All is never as bleak as we assume, and there are avenues we go. Well, that light just got really bright. We go down to escape monetary problems. This card can also indicate smaller losses. So if, for example, you ask whether you should go for a better paid job and this card comes up in the outcome position, you might discover that travel and other expenses mean that the new job won't represent a step up. Such indicators can be very helpful in decision making. So since it's an Earth card and we got this Earth card which says, the person coming in, philanthropy, and just that I had placed that there, and it's 5 and 6. So that lets me know that this was a kind of a past situation, and we got 6 coming in, and whoever's coming in through the airs or wonders or whatever, that it's like this pretty much, it cancels this card out for the most part. But if there are thoughts of the finances, which I know was a big thing, especially in the year of the dragon, there's a lot of financial stuff, I feel like a lot of people were concerned about. So just know that I think it just that card needed to come out just to show that this card had already canceled that out, and that everything's on track and everything's going to be good to go. So everything's amazing and good. Blessings are coming in. The ships are coming in. Overall, a lot of air energy, and just the elements are working. I'll just put it as that. The elements are definitely working. But let's see. Close it out. I'm gonna go ahead and get an Archangel Fire card for the day. Shouldn't say for the day, like as if I'm gonna do this every day, but we'll get an angel card out since I felt a little turbulent. I'll take this one. That's a Hosey? I'm going to say that so wrong. Haven't gotten that one yet, so we'll just see what it's got to say. Card number 12. That's significant. Sakid Ozy, I guess. Sakid? We'll go with Sakid. Let's see here. Oh man. Okay, so Sakid Ozy. Balance. I was just talking about that. The archangel known as Keeper of the Divine Balances, which is the Justice. So Kihozi is the angel associated with intimate partnerships and is shown here as a half-man, half-woman Russian circus performer. He or she helps us maintain our individuality while acknowledging the interconnectedness of all things, keeping a flow of loving energy where each person positively affects and supports the energy of the other. So Kihozi can help you to recognize and heal imbalanced partnerships. Yep, facts. Where you may feel you are being drained, while we all need to lean on loved ones from time to time, it's unhealthy for a relationship to be built entirely on one person's needs and another's attempts to fulfill those needs. A true soulmate relationship is uplifting, supportive, fair, and loving. If conflict or dysfunction occurs, it should lead to growth and understanding, not create further conflict and misunderstanding. This angel holds the balance between feeling and truth and promotes trust and cooperation. Obviously, the most intimate partnership we can have in our relationship is with ourselves. So Kihozi helps to keep all parts of our life in balance, from our emotions and our health right through to the overseeing of the seasons and how they affect us. He or she also balances the forces of light and dark. He or she can work on a microscopic level or a massive scale, governing the amazing harmonization of our cells and organs in a finely tuned symphony of cause and effect. With her assistance, you can increase the flow of creativity in your life, or on the other hand, if you need to be more practical, grounded, and logical in your approach to things, you can call on this angel to gift you with more time and space and balance. The relationship between the left and right hemispheres of your brain, personal relationships, or brain, he or she even aids our spiritual journey by bringing balance and understanding to our personal relationship with God, allowing us to take responsibility for our own actions and empower ourselves as divine beings who are one with God, love. As the balancer of all the spiritual forces within the great matrix of existence, Sokid Hozi reminds us of our infinite nature and says we need to remember that we are a microcosm within the macrocosm. The whole universe is reflected in our being, and so everything in our lives is constantly moving and shifting towards perfect balance. It is only our perception that prevents it from being so. This is why our intimate soul mate relationships can feel so incredible through this is why our intimate soulmate relationships can feel so incredible through them. We are able to see the truth of our own perfection reflected back at us in the other. Message: human beings have an innate need to interact with others. I will help bring balance to your love life and relationships, and above all, have a good relationship with yourself. The pendulum of partnership. This is a powerful exercise to do either alone or with a partner. Invoke the Archangel Sakid Hozi to join you. find somewhere to sit comfortably, either facing your own reflection in a mirror, or if you're teaming up with your partner, ask them to sit opposite to you. Gaze into the eyes of your reflection or partner's eyes and set the intention that you are strengthening the balance of love and understanding between you. Tuning into your sensory awareness, imagine that there is a constant flow of gold orange energy moving between your hearts in the shape of the infinity symbol, like the number 8 on its side. Feel the love pouring from your heart into theirs or your reflection, and vice versa, in a constant cycle, giving and receiving love. As the energies cross in the central space between you, they combine so that you are receiving self-love at the same time as you are receiving your partner's love, and they are giving and receiving too. Spending as long as you like doing this exercise, and feel the energy of mutual love and respect grow between you. If you are working with a mirror, you will find your self-esteem and confidence greatly improves the more you do this process. Then, Sukitozi, wrap your wings around yourself, your partner, and feel or sense your wings turn to brilliant white as a protective cloak around you. Complete the session with a loving, warm embrace. If working with your own reflection, hug yourself. Become the angel. To work with this angel in a practical, everyday way, you must be very honest with yourself about your intimate relationships. It takes immense courage to admit to yourself when a close relationship isn't working. Only you know what is right for you. If you are constantly questioning whether you are with the right person, the answer could be no. It's worth looking closely at the partner, friends, or relationships you have attracted in order to understand more about yourself. The more uplifted and supported you feel in a relationship, the more you want to uplift and support them. Then the flow of authentic love grows and blossoms like a flower in bloom. So there is partnerships. It's definitely the energy there. That's so beautiful. I love these past 2 readings. So amazing. Love them. Yeah, that's a lot of good confirmation there. I didn't even know that angel was in my deck, and 12 is actually, well, I guess it signifies, the 12 months out of the year, and like everything, whatever cycles there were, definitely coming to an end and start new beginnings. So it's like going into the new year after the eclipse. Pretty cool. So yeah, that's definitely your reading. I think it's funny too, because there's that book. I really hope I get to go ahead to put that on here, because I really wanted to do that, talk about that book first, and about partnerships, and how there's like, I will say there are 14 things you should look for in a partner. I just thought it was kind of cool, just because, I think it's awesome that the author put in there that there, the 14 things you should look for in a partner, and one of those things is tolerance, and it's like the last one. But I thought it was just it talks about just protecting your heart, and especially if you're like a soulmate, or like you have a heart, like we're all connected in some way by some cord, and I'm not getting into string theory or anything, but just we're all connected in some way. But that book, I wish there were more copies of it around, and if I would have had that book when I was in the service, I probably would have given one to each one of my people, and especially the ones that I saw the light in, because it's really great. And I think that coming into 2024, with all this abundance energy and just all the things that everyone's been through. I think it's that it's not a long book either. It's only like a few pages, like maybe 10 pages at the most. But I just I find it very beautiful. One, because I found it in a little hole in the wall bookstore, and it was on display. Two, because I'm an entrepreneur, and I feel like there's a lot of that entrepreneurship, just, like escaping the matrix kind of energy, just being your own boss, and being able to create, and bring something different, to this world and not be of the world, and that's the energy that's been going on, in all the planes and all the realms of things. It's just something that's happening, collectively, whether you're conscious or, it's in your subconscious, or it's just happening, all around the world. And so that book, it just puts a lot of emphasis on, protecting your heart, and not just for yourself, but just what to look for in partnerships. And when I was going through some of the harder parts of mine, that book gave me a lot of hope, and it was the book I had with the least amount of pages in it, because I already knew intuitively, what's supposed to happen with me and my partner. But it's still just, it was so little, and said so much. But the irony that there's 14 things you should look for is that Valentine's Day is on the 14th of February, and February has some significance to, I think, a lot of the fiery signs, just because of passion and stuff like that. But usually people think of Valentine's Day as a very well, this was like romantic, but I mean, they say that, like, some of the holidays that we have are holidays that they're supposed to describe, like, the 7 deadly sins or something like that. And I get that end of it too. I understand, and I've definitely seen that. I remember my parents kind of mentioned that when I was growing up, but they didn't really say it like that. But now I understand, why they were the way they were about those things. But I just found it just very ironic that they're the 14 things you should look for, and then most people on Valentine's Day will, expect to, I'm not gonna say most people, but there's just, there's that energy, that lustful energy, and, like, I'm not big about that. I'm a very big person about consent. I believe that you should have consent in anything you do, and in being spiritual, and then having the gifts that I have. It is very difficult, which was some of the things that I realized, that I was given spiritual consent to things that I didn't know I was given consent to. Not really, like, so much in, like, the lustful energy stuff, but just, like, in other things, like business things, and things having to do with work. And I didn't quite realize that, because I just thought that, I mean, I usually just kept my head down and let God guide me, because I was like, I bypass everyone's crap. I didn't get involved with a lot of people's pettiness. It just wasn't, it's not something for me. But yeah, that little book, though, that I got, it definitely, I feel like it would alleviate if more people were able to read it. And it's such a quick read. It would just have to have those words and the way it's written and how it's written in your subconscious, can definitely help anyone, just kind of, I guess, have that blueprint in there, like, at the soul level. Just kind of open your eyes to something, in love, because I mean, that love and authenticity are two of the highest frequencies you can have on this earth, and I've always, just loved people regardless of what they did to me, unconditionally. I haven't really been the type to say, like, well, if you do this, then I'll love you. Like, I don't think I've ever used that or had that mindset. Really, I mean, I haven't really been one to. I mean, I'll say when I was really young, I let some people kind of love bomb me a little bit because I thought that that's how that was supposed to go. But there's always that deep inner um, knowing of like this isn't. It just didn't feel right, and then I would just leave the relationship because I just couldn't quite get that inner feeling. Like I've always had that power couple feeling like that's what I'm supposed to do. I feel like everyone can kind of get to that level, but in this lifetime, I know for sure that like, that is the dynamic that I'm supposed to lead with and have and be present for. Because when I was little, I'd always try to go for like the I wouldn't say like the popular kid, but it was always just there's the one that I felt like can create with me the most, I guess, and help me build something like that was the kid that I usually would go with, back when I was trying to figure that out. But it was like always, just the one that we can build stuff with. There's, I don't know, my love language is building pretty much, and that's not even in that book, but it's, it's I don't know, it's a good book, and it's always good to really know what you need in partnerships. And I've been really blessed and grateful that I've found and discovered, someone that I know, regardless of whatever we've been through, that I believe we have a really great partnership. However it develops, I mean, I don't put emphasis really on a lot of that. I prefer it to be a romantic one just because it all makes sense to me. You kind of marry into a business, so you marry your business partner, and like that's kind of how I feel about it. But I mean, I try not to just force it, and just whatever it becomes. But it's I'm blessed and grateful that we're both able to see past a lot of the BS. And that was another thing that made me realize in my experience that there are some people out there that, and even in the military, I see this, and even when I was, working in a regular work, I guess, before I became an entrepreneur, that, I would just see these people that, they always seem to be like the less likely people to have any type of partnership with or any type of work relationship. Like sometimes they just didn't like each other, but like I always had a way of kind of getting them to kind of work together, but not like in a way like, oh, you're gonna get married and have kids and all that. Like it was just like I seen their light, I seen what they both can do, and yeah. And then once those two people clicked, it was like nothing can be like come in between them. And if they did, well, sorry about you. Like it was just I don't know, but I'm really grateful that I was able to help create those spaces for those people and help bring those enlightenments to those types of people. Because just like in the military, I don't know if they still do it, but we used to have battle buddies, and so they weren't wrong about that. That definitely applies in 3D, 5D, and throughout all the dimensions. Like, you just, everyone believes in God, but I feel like everyone does have a soulmate or someone out there that it's their battle buddy. Like, it's the person that's next to them, regardless, of whatever. Like, that is their person. Like, I believe everyone has a person, whether it's platonic or romantic, or just for whatever, business, whatever. I believe that every single person, even the people that don't seem like they, deserve much in this world because of the way they are, but like maybe they just don't have that person, that partner to really help them grow and I know that mine's helped me a lot, even though I didn't believe in their strategy of how it all went about. But I still am grateful for all those experiences I had with them, and in the spirit. Mainly, most of it's been in the spirit, telepathically, which is difficult because it does cause some miscommunication, especially when you already know that there's somebody to be there by your side physically to, you guys build each other up, you help each other out, and I was already kind of doing that before the realizations of what me and that individual really were supposed to like being twins. Like before I knew anything about that, I already naturally helped them. Sometimes it's just ridiculous stuff like carrying a coffee maker, helping them bring their luggage up or whatever. I always just felt like there was something like maybe people didn't help them a lot or they're intimidated by that person, and I was just still a person, still an individual. It's the same way I looked at the hierarchy in my jobs and in the military. It was just I look at you as a person, as a soul, and you have a purpose. And to me, titles and rank, it doesn't really mean a lot. I have a very high spiritual ranking, but I don't look at it oh, well, I'm better than anyone. I'm just better than situations, and that's just what it is. Situation is energy, and we have the power to create what we want in those situations. But yeah, I was already naturally I just seen something in my person, and it was just different, and it was the least likely person, which, like I said, that seems to be just the way it goes, and that's how there's some hard karma to be worked out in those situations. But yeah, I'm so grateful for the experiences, though. And even though my situation right now just kind of feels a little, I guess sometimes I feel a little bored, with things, and I just kind of don't, I'm just kind of waiting, and I try to stay calm and collected throughout the day because I believe in my chips coming in, and I'm gonna get back even greater than what I expected. But sometimes it's just the wait. The wait sucks, and I was reading that book with the partnerships today, and I was like, this is what we built, and this is what we already had. And I was like, we already had all this stuff, so that's how I knew. I was like, there was just too many third parties involved with our situation, where I was like, it sucked, and because I already felt all those things there, and I don't really know for sure if my person did, because we haven't talked, and that's kind of what happens with twin flames, is you come into communication, you guys kind of catalyze, and you leave for separation to go work on yourselves, which is great, but it really sucks for me because I feel like I just went through a lot, and it's even though I still want to keep on working and building things, but then I feel like I already did a lot of it, but then I'm like, did I plant the seeds or did I not? And it's kind of weird for me because usually I'll just go and do something before someone gives you permission, like these readings I came on. I said I posted and I said I got these decks, should I start doing readings? I didn't really get any feedback. I wasn't expecting it, but I was like, I know who I am. I'm just gonna do it. I always do. I just do it, and then it's my thing, and I've always been like that. So I didn't. But I still am the type where I like to still get that feedback because I feel like, even though it's just reading cards and energy, but it's just for me that there's just something special about that. That talking and getting feedback and kind of just going over the notes, and then I think a lot of that has to do with the military and how we have like after action reviews and stuff. It's just a lot of times those didn't happen, surprisingly, but when they did, they were pretty effective for the most part, I believe. But yeah, it's just something that I feel is good, especially now because with all the cyber stuff going on, I feel like it's a must almost just to have at least that one individual physically that you can rely on, that you can go to, that you know that through thick or thin, they're gonna be there for you, and you're gonna, conquer the situation together. And if it goes to crap, you're there to build each other up, and you can communicate and in a healthy way, and be like, this is not like nag at each other, but just like say, like, you could have did this better, and then having, putting down the ego and being like, yeah, I could have done that better. I mean, you're right, but I also, and then having the thing to like not saying excuses, but just saying like, but this is kind of why, in case you didn't know, for people that don't have, telepathy, it's just like important to have those open dialogues, in a safe space, in a healthy way, because that's very needed. It's very needed right now. If communication had to be at any point in time important now, as we're going into AI and quantum computing and sensory stuff, with the phones and all the tech, and I don't remember if I said AI, but like all that stuff, it's important to have just your battle buddy, to have someone there, because it's I've been through that, and it's scary stuff. There are people that can pretty much ruin your whole freaking life, and tap into your stuff, and you don't know until you know. And I experienced some of that, and it's scary. And I had to take some leaps of faith to let some people know, on the legal side, like, this is what's happening. And I feel like some of them didn't really like that too much. They felt like I was abusing the electromagnetic field or my communication, but what they didn't know was that there were things that were coming at me in the spiritual sense, that I was fighting against, and I didn't know exactly where it was all coming from. And so I took my leaps of faith and tried to get the message through, so they knew it was directly coming from me, so there was no misunderstanding of why those messages were being sent. And I feel like they kind of understood that, but there's still just there was a hard learning curve on that, and it caused a lot of weird doubt in me that I had never experienced, because I haven't ever been one to really doubt a lot of things. I'm cautious and I try to be careful, but it was just like, I wish I would have had someone that was there, and to talk to about that, but I didn't through a lot of my journey, and that I stayed in silence for the most of it, and which was something I didn't have an issue with. And I don't know why all of a sudden I go through this awakening journey, and I started having those questions. I'm like, this isn't me, and I was like, it's probably coming from someone else around me. And then I realized, my twin had, not the greatest of influences around them, and then I was like, I'm probably picking up on their energy, and then I understood how they were manipulated into things just like I was, but theirs was more, I guess, darker, and they had it was all just, I don't know. I get it. Like, I know why they had the things they had, and I felt all that, and it sucked. And so, but yeah, I guess if they're listening, yeah, I don't hold any of that stuff against my person at all, or anyone. I want to move forward so bad. I want to get out of this situation I'm in right now and move on to bigger, brighter, better, which I know is already in the works, already happening. I know any day now something good's gonna happen, and I'm gonna just be full of tears, just in happiness. That's whew, dang. But I know it's coming, I guess you should say. But I just I know I'm not the only one going through this, so that's what I'm talking about. You know, my part of it, and it's not all gonna be exactly the same as the other person's, but for the most part, from what I've seen, is for the ones out there that are, because a lot of the collective stuff seems very mild when it comes to these twin flame relationships and stuff. So I'm speaking kind of more on the weirder, extreme part of it. Well, some of it, but just know that there's someone like myself that knows the really ugly side of that, and everything is coming, and we're all getting through it. You know, energy doesn't lie. Like, just try to stay calm and collect as much as you can. Try to find something to occupy your time. I'm trying with this card reading and making these videos, but it's just there's still a part of me that feels like it doesn't quite fit, but I know it's still kind of needed. So but anyways, collective, thanks for tuning in, and I hope you all have a blessed day.